the Arab countries are center stage in, obviously there's tragedies been going on in that region, but there's a tremendous sense of optimism and growth. So it's fantastic to be focusing on these broad Middle East, North Africa, WANA, West Africa, North Asia, North Africa, West Asia, Southeast Asia. India is a continent on its own. China is vast. Indonesia within Southeast Asia has a huge population. So we're just going to dive into these exciting areas. We're going to look at both sides. So one side would be the economic growth, what all the governments are looking at. That's where the growth is. These are the economies that are driving the future, and they're investing. And then on the other side, also the cultural and creative excitement that's happening in that region. And all the time, and if you think towards, if you've got some questions at the end of this, it's also, where's the opportunity for you guys? So this is very much, they're going to explain their regions and what's currently happening. And if we don't really get across to you how that's useful for you, you've got to come up with the questions. So, Spec, who are you and what do you do?
Hi, I'm Spec. I'm the, well, I have multiple roles. I'm the Executive Vice President of International and Emerging Markets at Reservoir, a independent music company which encompasses publishing, recorded music, and management, and is publicly traded on the NASDAQ. Through Reservoir, I oversee a number of our ventures. So Pop Arabia is one of them. Pop Arabia is a music company that was established in Abu Dhabi 15 years ago in partnership with the Abu Dhabi Media Zone. We recently announced the launch of Pop India, which is our venture into South Asia and India. And I oversee, obviously, all of our entries into neighboring regions and across the emerging markets.
Hi, my name is Irene Rashdi. I'm from Malaysia. So, we're actually, I'm wearing a few hats as well. You know, right now I'm in music tech, but also used to still promoting, event promoting, and also right now focused on exporting as well, Southeast Asia artists out. My music tech is developing my own platform. It's going to be my first music verse. And the exporting part is the ones like sending all Southeast Asia artists playing at all the music conference, but not this music conference apparently. So we did, it's a new initiative called Sound of Southeast Asia. We set up stage in South by Southwest Austin and Ripperband recently, so it's pretty new. And I'm also like ex-co-founder for ASEAN Festival. Yeah, that's me.
Ian.
Hi, I'm Ian Urrutia. I also wear multiple hats. I work with, I'm from ASEAN Festival. We're a showcase festival in Southeast Asia. And we just did our festival like a month ago in Bali, Indonesia. It's like a 2-day festival wherein we had like a conference. We had like 3 stages of artists from Southeast Asia, East Asia, and all around the world. And we also have a songwriting camp the week after. So that's pretty much our format. I handle PR and marketing for ASEAN Festival. And in the Philippines, I also have a small like showcase festival called All of the Noise. It usually happens every April or May of the year. And aside from that, I have my own PR agency called New and an events agency as well called JNN.
Hi everyone, sorry that I'm late. My name is Kuku from Indonesia. Actually, I'm running 2 companies. The first one is entertainment company. We have several labels. From pop, local music, hardcore punk, and then we have publicists, we have a music publisher, we have merchandise company focused on music related, and we have the retail store to connect with community and our fans. The second one is Jakarta Music Conference. I'm starting 3 years ago. The objective is to connect everyone in the industry working with other professional outside music. So we have connection with government, graphic design association, architecture association, because in Indonesia, I think the fastest growth in terms of music is merchandise related, graphic design related. So we're more focused on those kind of things in Indonesia. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Irfan, CEO of Massive Music. We are a music publishers in Indonesia. So our main focus is to maintain the copyright industry to be thriving. We have a leading market shares for locals. We have more than 50%, I think it's 61.8% for local catalog in Indonesia, diverse from pop to hyper locals. And we also representing peer music in Indonesia as well, so international catalogs are welcome. Now, recently, we are focusing on sync. We have our divisions of music supervisor. I think we are the first in Indonesia who run a complete among music supervision services. So we serve Netflix, HBO Prime, so we push sync or copyright into film business and make it easy for everyone to licensing without compromising the price. So the composers are also happy, and the production houses who are our users is also being even in ease in using and accessing copyright. So in the future, we are planning to become the ultimate copyright partner for the stakeholders.
The ultimate. India's obviously had a long tradition of sync with Bollywood movies.
Yeah.
So they've integrated music, but they're only recently acquiring music supervisors, and it's interesting that you touched on Netflix as one of your clients, that I think that's been very helpful in India, Netflix presence. Are you finding as you roll out more licenses, more opportunities to monetize the music, and that you build the infrastructure, are you copying and pasting, say, from the States or France, how the industry works, or are you applying it slightly differently locally? And then are you picking up local customers, so not internationals like Netflix, specifically for sync?
Okay. So
with local music.
Okay. So in Indonesia, for sync market, I think is growing now, because most of the production houses is also serving for the exhibitors, for the cinema, for the FTA, free to air, and also for the OTT as well. So they are opening a really big opportunity for publishers or for songwriters to contribute to the productions. So by bringing locals or internationals, I mean, today we are borderless. As long as the scene is, or the song is fit to the scene, I think they're okay. So sometimes what I feel, they don't really into hits. So for example, if there's French songs that fit to the scene, but that it's a romance scene, and it fits with the French songs, I think it can fit to the needs of the production house or the productions of the movies itself.
A small break on behalf of metadata, absolutely essential if you're sending music into regions that you tag with contextual metadata, for example.
Correct. So we are now developing an AI-powered platform that we are going to present next month in JAV. So JAV is like Cannes in Indonesia. Right. So every of the production houses are gathered for a film market. So what we serve at that event is going to present how the data will fit to the film industry, because we found that mostly there are three roles for sync that having a decisions. One is the director, two is the editor, the other one is the producer or executive producer. Mostly they are using their muscle memory or instinct. So we are now serving a data approach. So we and then connect directly to all the DSPs, so we can extract the metadata. So we can know, for example,
and you have a huge market. Your population is vast.
Yes.
And I think sometimes people look at the emerging markets by almost like a Spotify index, or what's a per stream worth.
Okay.
And to me, particularly with Indonesia, that's the wrong question.
Yeah.
If you can get traction with
it's
your
not wrong
audience,
questions.
you've got massive growth. Spec, we're hearing about the development of through the publishing industry of different monetizations. You've done some really disruptive stuff. What are you up to?
Yeah, look, with the Middle East, when we set up Pop Arabia 15 years ago now, there really wasn't an industry, you know. The copyright law was written in 2002, and I moved to the UAE in 2006. So it was still very early days, and for a long time, like in India, the labels really dominated the roost, and were not really incentivized to create or support a publishing industry because it made much more sense for them to control as much of the ecosystem as possible. So it was a fight. And what we did really initially was we started representing the major publishers, and you know, we took that fight to the major labels initially who weren't, you know, paying us mechanicals. So you can imagine, you know, which if you're in the West, that's not unheard of, you know. If you're in the Middle East and nobody really understands music rights, and you're representing, you know, one of the majors, and you're going after their label counterpart, the guy at the label counterpart is going, "Why are you coming after me? Like, I don't understand what rights I even control that are yours," you know. And so it took a long time to educate the marketplace and change the way that things were done. And thankfully, we're sort of at a place now where, with Sync, for example, it was really normal when I moved there to the region that commercials would use a Madonna song or a Coldplay song or whatever it might be, and there was no clearance. Or there was a clearance, but they cleared it with some dodgy third party, you know, brother-in-law of a guy at the agency, and he was pocketing the money, and it would never actually get to the rights holder until somebody represented the rights holder and said, actually, we represent these rights, where's our money? And it took a lot of those sorts of conversations to just get people to acknowledge that there was a right involved at all. Now we've announced, you know, the entry of Pop India a few months ago, and, you know, India has always like been, you know, a challenging market, of course. Like you said, like, you know, Bollywood's with Sync. I hate to be nerdy, but like, yes, you're right, but it really wasn't Sync. You know, what it was work for hires, you know, and it was this idea that I pay you, I own you, and I don't owe you anything after that. And that has taken a minute, like, and you know, and 10 years ago, 90+% of what people were listening to in India was Bollywood, and now that's reduced to under 60%. And the remainder is this indie scene where it's hip hop, it's electronic, it's singer-songwriter, and when it's a hip hop artist, it's like 5 people in a room writing a song together. Very different than Bollywood, where it was a work for hire, it was just a machine, it was a musical director that was sort of doing everything, you know.
So investors and entrepreneurs like you guys are going in and you're building the infrastructure, but also particularly with Pop Radio, you had to speak directly to the governments because you're dealing with copyrights and things like that.
Absolutely.
Aaron,
yeah.
you work a lot with technology. Have you seen the governments in the region pay more attention to culture, take it more seriously in the last few years? We know the famous stuff with K-pop had a lot of support from the pension funds and the government.
Yes, I can say like for the past, I think right after the pandemic, I guess 3 years.
Post-pandemic.
Yeah, post-pandemic. And then recently, like I think just now we had a conversation about, you know, talking about K-pop that I'm not sure whether you guys know about Ministry of Culture Indonesia having to pay, you know, ambassador, K-pop ambassador, you know, to have that. So I guess now even like the government, I can go like to each government right now in like Southeast Asia, right? So like Indonesia having that, it's quite a news, you know, having a K-pop ambassador. And Malaysia, even Malaysia right now, the biggest festival actually is a K-pop festival. So it's Running Man. So that's the, you know, and government, on my government, like Malaysia government, on the tourism part, they actually give a full grant on that. So yeah, so in terms of the cultural part coming from, you know, from outside, they give the full support. But but in terms of, you know, I'm not
Yeah.
sure whether I can say this.
No, it's
but
perfect.
yeah,
It's
so-
perfect. So we have this picture that internationally, governments, world leaders, investors are looking at these regions
Yeah.
as growth. Then entrepreneurs are leading the change and they're bringing in infrastructure. SACEM here in France is the oldest collection society in the world, but you're building with technology some of the most modern systems for sync or for collection societies.
So,
Go for it.
yeah, and then like in terms of the technology now,
Yeah.
whatever that I'm building right now, so it's a cross culture between the culture and then tech and then music. So together, so now the government from Malaysia, taking that very close, like, you know, take that look closely on that, because they have the sense of, oh, now we should export out the culture outside rather than you know, importing. So they finally have the sense of, you know, exporting out like the culture itself.
Ian, the Southeast Asia region, so Japan is not part of that, China's not part of that. Where are the main countries in the Southeast Asian region for music?
Southeast Asia is very culturally diverse, but somehow we kind of share this like sensibility. We're on a mission to support each other and you know, support the artists that we usually champion. So yeah, there's this also term called ASEAN 6, like Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and the Philippines. These are countries with like robust or emerging economic or socio-political power, wherein like they have like economically speaking, at least they can fare with other countries in terms of pushing for things like music, arts, and culture.
And with your festival, it's spelled with it's AX.
It's
isn't it?
ASEAN Festival, yeah.
ASEAN with an X in there.
Yes, with an X.
And you're broadly support.
There's a reason for that, actually.
Yes. But yeah, ASEAN Festival, it's actually formed by like a lot of industry professionals from Southeast Asia. So we just want to collaborate and, you know, with a common goal of sharing music to the rest of the world, that each country we offer something different. We offer something that would be valuable as well, and something that would be that people can look forward to in terms of like influence and yeah, stuff like that.
And are you moving it around the region?
It's in Bali for the last 2 years, yeah, Bali, and then we've done it in Singapore, and then the first one we did it online during the pandemic in 2020.
I think 2 years, right?
Yes.
Online 2020 and
Right.
2021.
2021.
Kuku, with the region, are you seeing consumers from other countries come to Indonesia?
Definitely. Yeah.
And so Bali is a global hotspot. It's an international. It's almost like Ibiza or something, isn't it? Everyone goes there. But from the region, are you seeing much ticket sales to Southeast Asian consumers within Indonesia?
Yeah, I think Bali is different battle. I think Bali is more global, different taste, different playlists, different music. I think we can exclude Bali on this conversation because it's gonna be a different topic. But
Perfect.
I think Indonesia we have because we have a huge population, huge market, and we believe that I think Indonesia one of the biggest unheard market to the global.
Yeah.
Everyone heard about how big Indonesia, but don't know how to do to penetrate to Indonesian market, who to contact in Indonesia. So that's why when I think before ASEAN, we as Southeast Asian person, we already connect each other. That's why ASEAN established.
Yeah.
Because every country have their own power. Like maybe Thailand have the success story of the industry. I think Indonesia have the numbers. In terms of global market come to Indonesia, we have several international festival like Joyland with the Fest, Jakarta we have project, and because the scale of the festival, a lot of people came to Indonesia, and yeah, sometimes and after ASEAN, we deeply involve or connect with each other. We sometimes, and now we have successful story in terms of Southeast Asia, because from global point of view, it's very expensive or it's very challenging to know every market in Southeast Asia, like what's happened with Thailand, what's happened in Vietnam or Indonesia. But with ASEAN, instantly you can know about Southeast Asia, because everyone in Southeast Asia came into one festival.
So I'm just going to underline that really important point, that there's some synergy between, say, Spain and Portugal. Brazil is unusual within Latin America, but there's massive synergies between Chile, Ecuador, Mexico. It's kind of homogenous, whereas your region is incredibly diverse. And then if you take countries like Indonesia or Vietnam, inside that there's multiple cultures. But online, your fans are sharing and listening to the regional market. So there's a cohesiveness with the youth and entertainment that's bridging the region. And then you guys collectively have all said to me that you enjoy working with each other and supporting each other. So there's a really great spirit of optimism. Have you seen, coming into Indonesia, have you seen any European artists that have understood the opportunity in the region and worked for it? Or they've just thought it's great to come to this beautiful sunshine, tropical?
I think there's a lot of problems internally in Indonesia. We have a challenge with our regulation. We have a problem with working visa in Indonesia. So that's why when we have ASEAN, we know how to improve or learn from other success story in every country in Southeast Asia, because we have, like Ian said, we have similar, I think, consumer behavior. In example, like we experience Great Escape or South by, how like some country feel that social media become a threat, or maybe a number is just followers or something else. But in Asia, in Indonesia, social media or maybe like TikTok or Instagram, it's opportunity to grow. How we see social media is much different than any other country, maybe in the rest of the world. So I think Indonesia a lot of more opportunities, and we feel connect. I think the past 5 years, because the digital growth in Indonesia. One example, if Indonesia want to know something about the band outside Indonesia, the first platform they want to check is Instagram.
Right.
Yeah, so it's pretty much different than maybe other country. They need to check like how big the monthly listener is Spotify, or maybe SoundCloud or something. But Indonesia, you need to be good at visual and on your digital platform first, digital activation, and then like people can know about your music, what kind of live performance. Yep.
Ian, a very quick tip. A French artist is targeting the region through Instagram. How many languages should they use for the description below the picture?
Well, Southeast Asia, we have different languages per country, but English is still understood in a lot of, in majority of the Southeast Asian countries. So at least if you know English, if you communicate English, I think you'd be safe to do like a tour. You just need to like find like a partner in terms of PR, like a local partner for your like tour or something, or strike a deal that would help you out when you plan to visit these countries.
Yep, crucial. Local partners for how the market works. Spec, in the Arab region, I think Billboard have moved in recently to say that they're doing regional awards and celebrating artists, both old and new, from that area. What happens with creativity in there? We've been talking about the business side of things. Are you inspired? You have a career as an artist yourself. You worked in A&R. You've signed many great acts. How do you find the cultural temperature in the market at the moment?
If we used Sync, let's say, as a benchmark for what's going on in the region, what we found is, so we do a lot of, at Pop Arabia, we do a lot of music supervision for a lot of the stuff that's being produced in the region at the moment. So For example, every season of Dubai Bling on Netflix, we've been the music supervisors on. Sorry, but you know, 70 or 80% of what they want is indie Arabic. You know, so you know, historically, if you looked at the the catalog of Arabic music, it was really defined, I think, by from the 60s to the 90s. You know, a lot of is the word sort of formulaic in that there was a formula to creating what you would call Arabic pop, you know, up until the 90s and into the 2000s. Now it's become kids making beats in their bedrooms and recording and, you know, being completely indie. And so what we're finding is more often than not, they don't want famous Western pop songs, and they don't necessarily want classic Arabic sounding music. What they want is modern Arabic, which is a mix of everything. And the more collaborative and experimental it is, the more interesting it is on television. So we found that all of the indie stuff that is, I'm sure, exciting all of us about what's happening in Asia these days, the same sort of thing, except is there a name for it? There's many names for it. You know, in Egypt, the version of hip hop that they've made into their own genre is called Maraganat. You know, there's Moroccan trap stuff. You know, there's all these like sort of sub genres that are machinations of a modern music mixed in with old influences. So yes, from an A&R perspective, that's super exciting, you know, because you're creating genres where there were none before.
Briefly, as an artist, would you be attracted to that? If you were still back in Canada or New York, would you be like, I want to go and work with those guys?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, even as an A&R, like when I fly into Cairo, I'm, you know, for the last 5 years, I'd fly into Cairo and I'd be in the studio at 4 a.m. with a bunch of Maraganat artists, you know, showing me how, you know, I'd be in the studio with the guy who invented the genre, you know, and it's like, wow, it's like being at the beginnings of hip hop, you know. It's really super exciting to see them take control of their own destiny and just take it, and it goes out globally around the world.
Really important point, that the business people are obsessed with these guys for what their economies are doing. I think the artists should be obsessed with them for what their creators are doing, and going over there and engaging and connecting. Irene, you know the region very well. You move around a lot.
Yes.
And Ian's mentioned this, well, everyone's been mentioning it, that within Southeast Asia, there's a sort of shared sense of we're doing something together.
Yes.
Are artists breaking out from the region or across the region?
I think like few success stories even between the region itself, because of you know, a lot of like collaborations going on between the region, you know, like Malaysian artists with Indonesian artists, and then Thailand with Cambodians and whatnot. So tapping into each other's market, and you know, having both sides like A&R person to market it out. So it has been quite a story.
Yeah.
And I guess also recently we have people from outside, like, you know, the European or like UKs and whatnot. Some of the artists actually came and then collaborate with, you know, the artists from Southeast Asia. And I got like this collaboration with Utopian artists, with one of the artists from Malaysia, you know, things like that going on. And it's actually a new method for Southeast Asia. It became one of the strategy, not just using tech per se. It's still, you know, not just using all these platforms, or, you know, having this collaboration, sharing the audience and whatnot. Yeah, that's what's been going on.
Initially, to any of you, that so the Beatles came from Liverpool, that talent Oasis moved to London. Talent tends to aggregate in, say, New York, Paris, Madrid, but it doesn't always come from there. Are you finding pools of talent within the region, cities that are really vibrant for creativity, that maybe are or aren't the center? Go for it.
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
No, the talent isn't in New York and London. It's so much, or Paris. That was yesterday's model, right? And the reason it was here was because these countries made a lot of the right sort of investment early on in the protection of intellectual property and in the protection of rights. And because of that, it was the West dominated the music scene. When I was growing, I'm 50 this year, right? So when I was in my 20s, if you were, so I was recording with Nitin Sawhney, who's a British Asian artist, has won lots of awards, and he gets constantly called a world music artist, which he hates, right? And why is he a world music artist? Because he's a British Asian guy who incorporates Indian classical instrumentation with contemporary production. But his argument is that's not world music. That's just music. And the argument that when it was a physical record store business, what happened was you had the stuff that sold 80% of the records was front racked in the front, and it was owned by the major labels, and it was Anglo-American pop. And the 80% of everything else went into different categories, and unless you sang in English, you were world music. And I just think that's BS. I think that the world today is much more about, like, when people talk to me, I say, not only do you no longer need to sing in English in order to have a hit, but I actually think it would be a mistake to sing in English.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I want to add on to that because like I said, I set up Southeast Asia stage outside. So all these bookers from, the northern side, of European, and, they came to me like, they're expecting, okay, this is like, I don't know, like they're expecting, like Malaysian artists to sound Malaysian. So I asked that question again, like, what do you mean by Malaysian sound? know? So for them, it's all, coming, all this world music genre, which is the indigenous. So for me, I think we have more than that. Like, of course, we have this fusion, and then we have these jazz bands, the really good ones, from Malaysia, Indonesia, whatnot, and even like reggae, but singing in our own language, right? So, but then we got all these comments where, oh, but you guys, I understand you don't understand the language, but this is reggae, we expecting more on your sound. So I was like a bit,
K-pop band BTS blew up in Mexico City, and they were confident that they'd take America after they'd taken Mexico City, where there's a strong streaming, where everyone speaks Spanish.
Yeah.
So that gives you guys a massive opportunity. What happens to music coming into the region, say from here? Is there much demand at a local level? Thank you.
Well, I think now the audience of Indonesian listeners is quite diverse. They are not the distributions of new music is not centralized like we used to be from televisions now.
Yep.
It's coming from ground up, from the let's say social media, from the community. So I think, like for example, this year I invited 2 times Swedish composer to come to Indonesia to work in Indonesian artists, and then they make some hits, and then also I'm inviting Korean songwriter also to doing a songwriting camp in the studios with Indonesian composers. So for me, where I also believe everyone in this room are also agreed, music is a universal language. So there will be no language barrier. That is what I believe, and also I think the audience in this room is also believe in that. It will sound from the music itself. So when the music is good, when the music is great, I think it will penetrating with the audience itself. Me myself, I'm a performer. I collaborate with Filipino artist Sabrina. I penetrate my music to Malaysian as well, back in 2005 until 2011. I will be having a concert in Malaysia next month as well. So I think as long as the music is great, I think the audience will accept that. So for me, the limit is the creativity. So
Awesome.
the sky is just the limit. So I mean,
Cuckoo, we've sold the music. The music's great. We appreciate that in some countries there's going to be issues with visas, with carnets, so we've got to get our paperwork in order. We need to find local PR people. Visual, you talked about with Instagram.
Yeah.
Really important to invest perhaps in the storytelling
Yep.
to engage with the market.
Yep.
So you can't just come there on the basis of, so artists shouldn't be just be going there based on this is where it's growing. They need some traction, some reason to come, because you're in a very, very competitive market. This isn't a brand new space that's empty. It's very full and very busy. What do you think the sort of minimum, is there a standard route into the market? Is it someone gets connected on a streaming service, or they get a certain number of followers on Instagram, or they do a collaboration with a songwriter? I suppose there's multiple routes.
Yeah. Because Southeast Asia, or maybe especially Indonesia, we are archipelago. So logistic-wise, it's very challenging.
Yeah.
So as a business, from business point of view, you need to be effective and efficient about your budget, your effort, your time, and everything. So that's why one of the things why Accent established is to make it efficient and simple.
Great.
But if you want to penetrate the Indonesian market, you need to know who to contact. Maybe that's when I help some musician from East Asia, like Taiwan or maybe Japan. I can recommend them to have digital collaboration first. Like, I think they can connect with some Indonesian musician, and then they can cover each other songs and then publish it into digital. Maybe in Japan, upload in YouTube. Maybe in Indonesia, you can convert to TikTok content, and then you can sell your merchandise. Merchandise business in Indonesia is huge. So maybe you can connect with local illustrator, and then you can connect with local merchandise store in Indonesia. And everyone appreciate really good merchandise in Indonesia, so it can make some publication about your traction.
So artists need to put the effort in
Yeah.
across a number of fronts. Have we got any questions in the audience for these guys? Yes, go for it. Speaking English, is it the general public?
I think general public. I can say it's general public. Yeah. Especially Gen Z, younger generation, everyone. Very specific language.
It's the Americans. It shouldn't be called English anymore.
Yeah.
Any artists that you guys are particularly excited about, not just because you love their music, but in the way that they're presenting themselves and telling their stories to get out of the region? Because we've touched on this point that it kind of makes people angry that this ancient world music concept that is very patronizing and is very constricting. Whereas what's happening now is there's versions of folk music that are mixed through hip-hop with local storytelling, particularly in the Philippines. It's insane what's happening there.
In the Philippines, we have an artist called DJ Love. He's like the pioneer of a genre called budots. Budots is like a grassroots electronic music in Davao City. Davao is like the third biggest city in the Philippines, but it's in the south. So usually the cultural capital is in Manila, our capital. But there's like a movement in Davao wherein budots is really big. And then I think in the past few years, it's gained traction internationally. Like Olivia Rodrigo, she did a TikTok about budots. It's covered in New York Times and a lot of prominent publications all around the world. And actually, when I went to Primavera a few months ago, I wore like a shirt, like a budot shirt, and then a white guy approached me and like, oh, I know budots, I know DJ Love. So it's an exciting. It's an exciting feeling that somehow this non-English artist who is speaking his own language has his own promoting his own culture, and having this sound that's very non-Western seeing him somehow achieve traction outside of the country, it's really an exciting time for us at least.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's, I don't know how to, the last time I think we as a popular cultural movement had that was probably hip hop, where there was this sort of genre that, defined itself, and, it was rock and then punk, and I think hip hop was the last. And now what's really exciting, I think, is that there are actual new genres that are specific to the areas, to each country and each language and each culture. And not only is it popping and it sounds awesome, but it's exporting. And as you say, so for example, the two examples that spring to mind for me is the one I've already mentioned, the Marganat thing. I think that Marganat is I found it fascinating because not only is it just a musical genre, but if you look at the Egyptian government, speaking about the Middle East, the Egyptian government there are entities that are meant to sort of police culture, that are completely against Marganat, and trying to stop it from trying to ban it in the country. And the more they try to ban it, the more it becomes popular across the region and globally. And to me, that's like a reboot of gangster rap in the 90s and parental advisory stickers and NWA, and the more you try to sort of control something, the more you lose control of it. And that to me makes it really exciting because there's such a high density of youth population. And so it's never bet against the kids, right? Like they're always going to win. So, so that to me is super exciting. And just touching back on not any one artist, but in India, prior to this movement, the only celebrities that you would see come out of India were very manufactured, perfectly coiffed, amazing looking perfection, like supermodel Bollywood actresses and, and that sort of thing. And now kids that are growing up in the worst slums in Asia are the biggest artists in India, and they're wearing sneakers and touring jeans, and it's a completely different, it's a complete turnaround from what it was.
Perhaps similar with the authenticity that's come out of the Philippines as a counter reaction almost to K-pop and its slickness. With the region, it's really important visually, isn't it? That the audience is really engaged strongly with artists that have a strong identity, an IP, as the Americans would call it, a brand profile. Like a Rihanna or someone is a really strong identity. She's in apparel, she's in makeup as well as music. Yeah. Opportunities for artists to work. We already heard this thing about merchandise earlier on. To not just think about you're coming in there to sell records or sell tickets.
Yeah, like apparently, like Southeast Asia right now, we have that strongly, focused on getting all the artists on the IP side. Strong in Singapore right now, one legal company, focused on that, and been doing that for a few artists. And actually, I also work with even Lisa Blackpink. Yep. Getting Lisa as an IP.
And Lisa's Thai originally, isn't she?
Yeah, she's the Thai region, but IP her, like I'm gonna IP her as Lisa, but not Lisa Blackpink, and then so.
So Thai artist pushed up through the Korean industry, running her business through Singapore, and then having huge global success. Great example of the opportunity in the region, and then just sort of circling back on some of the business side. You need local knowledge and support. You can't just go in there telling your story from Germany or from France or from the UK. Yeah. Find local promoters. And it also sounds, I think really my conclusion from this discussion was really the artist needs to lead this. Is the manager, the publisher, the lawyer is saying, we need to go there. That's a growth market.
Yes. Even on the legal side or even on the tech side right now, right? We we have to IP the artist, especially
Right.
you know, going into tech world. It's not just music is borderless, even tech is borderless as well.
Yeah.
You know, putting your you know, creativity in any platform, or suddenly any platform got your you know, work without any consent. And then, you know, if you already have your music album, even artwork, I might not IP it, and then anywhere or any platform,
The
it's
full
secure.
package,
Yeah.
the story, the image, the identity,
Everything.
and then the reason that you're so interested in this region, the authenticity.
Yes.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for your time. Emmanuel's going to grab the mic.
Jake.
Well, I wanted to thank Jake for moderating this session, but also I have a few words of thank you to the people who brought actually Irene, Ian, Irfan and Kuku to this stage, and which is there's a special fund that is managed by the Ministry of Europe and Foreign Affairs with the support of the Institut Français and the CNM, and especially Sabrina Durand, who coordinated that, and thanks to her, we had those speakers, and thank you very much to all of you, and thank you to that very interesting conversation. Spec, next time we'll put you on the plan so that you can fly from and to Abu Dhabi, thanks to the fund. And Jake will be back on stage on Friday to talk about the creators and the narrative. And right after this session, we have a partner session from All Access. So if you're interested in what they're doing, please stay here. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. Merci beaucoup. Et à demain matin.